Misha
Mike Borja, you've been working out.
Yeah.
You look good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm growing. Well, I see you have lifts in there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been getting a lot of sun either. It's all indoor workouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
I got Baylor. Lots of pull-ups. I stretched out a little bit.
Yeah, Mike got an upgrade. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good. Did you know we were playing you on just now? Or were you like, oh crap, that's me?
I did. I thought about just not coming on.
Yeah. Not always.
I heard that Matt Cohen came on with his flying thing.
Oh, man. It's a
And
nightmare.
there's like tiny little protrusions. No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
It's just
people are made differently.
everybody has a different body, and
Yeah.
that happens to have a tiny, tiny penis.
But great looking guy.
Oh yeah. I got God graced him in so many other ways.
All right, we'll leave the stage now.
Can I just tell you something? I want to share something. I had my meet and greet earlier,
Yeah.
and one of the rules about meet and greets, I don't know. Excuse me, we're trying to have a conversation here. One of the rules about meet and greets is that you're not what happens in the meet and greet stays in the meet and greet.
Right.
And I'm about to violate that part of the rule of meet and greets. Someone asked me, Misha, that's my name.
Okay.
Can you tell me anything about your role on The Boys? And I said, no. But I can tell you the genesis of Rob's role on The Boys. And then I explained that you had shared with Eric Kripke
Yeah.
one of your personal Rob Benedict
Goals.
sexual fantasies.
Sexual fantasies, yeah.
And then he was like, that's amazing, I think
I'm
I'm
gonna
going to write that into the story.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you did that. And it's good to know that this is what's happening in meet and greets. And that's why everyone's coming out of the meet and greet and looking at me like, now it makes sense. But yeah, no, I did. I said,
And I didn't know if that was like a secret or what, but now it's out in the open.
but now it's out there. Now you know, everybody. I said, please, Eric, make me naked. Having sex with 10 of me. Oh, please make that happen. And he did.
We get up and we talk about these things earnestly, and you know that there's like a certain percentage of the population and by extension audience who doesn't understand irony.
Right. They think that.
People are gonna go home and they're gonna be like, you'll never guess what I heard about
Yeah.
Rob Benedict's role on.
Yeah.
Did you know that was one of his?
Yeah, the guy who played God is a pervert.
Yeah. That was Ryan was on the roll with that one.
Yeah, well, we knew that.
It's like that time when we were in Australia 15 years ago, and Richard Speight said, I don't even know what the genesis of the
Someone
question
came up
was.
and said, I love you so much, Richard Speight. And I was standing right next to him. Nothing for me, by the way. And then he said, where are you from? She said, Perth. And he said,
Rob hates Perth. And, Rob hates Perth.
and I was like, no, I don't. She looked at me, tears in her eyes. She was like, we take offense to that.
If you ever tried to travel to Perth now, it is like everyone in Perth knows that there's this fucking American actor who hates Perth.
All the rest of the weekend, no matter how much I said, like, so Richard joke, I did it on stage, and now,
It's like that thing, like in the news when you say a false fact, and then there's like fact checking on it. And it's like, no, in fact, that's not true. They don't eat pets. That reinforces the false information, and people just believe it that much more.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like, in this situation, Rob really does hate Perth.
I don't. But if you search Rob Hates on Google, it fills it in Perth. All right, guys, Misha Collins.
I feel like I should get that portion of my time slot back because Rob totally monopolized it.
If I miss someone tomorrow.
Hi. Who said hello? Oh, you. Thank you for being so gracious. Nobody else said hi. Too late now. Copycat. You missed me? She just went up to you. Thank you. Oh God, I want you. This could get bad. Hello, everyone. I was warned that this was a rowdy crowd, and it feels like it's true. It is. Minnesota is known for its rowdiness. What's that? That is why we love you. No, there's many reasons why we love you. It's not just that, but it's mostly that. Hi. Hi. Well, it's nice to be here. What do we want to talk about today?
You, Castiel.
Hi. Okay. So what is this? There's a little like square of tape here on the floor that says staff. And your staff. And you're taking photos. You know, I mean, creation, I know they're trying to save money, but they could get you a chair. No, you're staff. You sit on the floor. Now lick my foot. What's happening today? I think there is something in the air. I'm doing my my one-man show in New York, and we're doing it at a special venue in New York in a few weeks. And there's like a nice setup there, and I was gonna meet up with people before the event and have drinks before the show. And I'm revealing another meet and greet conversation here. And somebody in the meet and greet said, you know, are you planning to repeat that somewhere else? And I said, no, I don't think so, because then you set up that, like, this is part of the problem. This is why I was sort of worried about doing this in the first place, because it sets up the expectation that then you're going to do that again in the future. And then people are going to be disappointed in the future at my shows if I don't have this thing before the show. It's sort of like the same reason that I never give my partner an orgasm. I don't know what's going on. People are not going to see me with her, and then they're going to think, oh, poor woman. Shit. Roll that back, please. Don't delete that portion of the footage. Okay, can you help me, please? Save me from myself.
Hi. I'm Patricia. I'm from Broward County, Florida.
Hi. Oh, you were like the center of elections maelstroms at one point, right? Oh.
I don't want to talk about it. My question, well, we're all very excited for your upcoming appearance on this season of The Boys, and we would love to know anything about this season. It could be as unhinged as you want. However, we would like to hear it in the form of 2 lies and a truth. So, pick it up. Go ahead.
2 lies and a truth. Okay. So, standards and practices. Do you know what standards and practices are? It's like the censorship, the in-house censorship arm of any given television network or streamer. And because Amazon is a streamer and they're not beholden to FCC regulations, which are much more restrictive, they can kind of do whatever they want, and it's just a matter of taste. And they dissolved that division altogether at Amazon. And so this season on The Boys, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying some of these things. This season on The Boys, they are showing full penetration. I really am going to get in trouble for some of these things. I think I actually signed something that said that I wouldn't share these details. Homelander actually dreamed everything up to this point. And he wakes up to find that he is a clerk working in an accounting firm. And the third one is that Eric Kripke, the show creator, makes a very substantial guest star appearance in one episode. But aren't you supposed to guess which one's true? Yeah.
Oh, does anyone else have a good guess? Alright. Guys, can I get a show of hands? Who thinks one is the truth?
Oh, absolutely.
Who thinks two is the truth?
Nobody believes two. And who believes three is the truth?
Yeah!
Okay, so say three.
And who believes none of them are true? Okay. The last group is correct.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to get sued. Hi.
Hi, my name is Sonia, and I'm just from East Bethel, north of the Twin Cities here.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
Good. Saw you doing photo ops. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
You have a book of poetry.
I do have a book of poetry.
Do you have a favorite poem that you wrote in that poetry book?
I have a few poems in that book that I every once in a while, for some reason, I'll have occasion to open the book and I'll be like, oh, I kind of like that poem. I forgot about that. I tend to forget about almost everything. But there are two poems in that book that are about my kids that have special resonance with me that I quite like. One is called The Last Poem, and it's about the last time that you do different things in parenting. So, and you don't even notice that these things are going to be the last time you wipe your child's butt, or the last time they crawl into bed with you because they had a nightmare, or the last time you see them off to school before they go to college, or whatever. There's so many things, most of which you never even know it is the last until later, and quite often you don't remember the last thing, the last incident of that. So it's sort of poignant, and my kids are 14 and 12, and getting ever more impatient with me and independent, and so I sort of think about that fairly often. Yeah, thanks. Hello.
I'm Kira. I'm from
Hi.
Texas. Hello.
You're from where?
Texas.
Oh my goodness, you're far from home.
I am.
What caused you to come here?
I've never been to VidCon before, and I've heard good things.
Oh really?
Yeah.
How is VidCon characterized? Like what's
Apparently, it's pretty chill, just good vibes.
It's chill. I thought it was rowdy. I'm so confused.
It's Midwest rowdy, so it's like polite. It's nice to see you. Let me ask you a great thing. I hope you're having a good.
I am, yes. Thank you for asking.
But so my question is, what is one thing that you do on set frequently or predictably enough that your coworkers could make a drinking game out of it?
Well, I would say when I was filming on Supernatural, it was laughing and ruining a tape by laughing. That was the thing that I was known for on set. And if that had been a drinking game, I think it would have caused even more laughter. And then eventually it would have caused blackouts. Which we only had a few of on the set of Supernatural. We were just reminiscing. There was a couple of times it was like a crew member was just like literally just passed out in the wings of the stages. We didn't have like terribly strict rules on the set of Supernatural. There wasn't a lot of enforcement of policies that normal workplaces might have. Yeah.
We would have the, yes, I probably shouldn't share these things. I will just say this, there was a mandatory like workplace harassment seminar that we had to attend every year, and like all of the cast and all of the crew had to sit in chairs and look kind of like this. And the things that we would text each other during that. I'm scarred to this day. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
I'm from here. My question was, if there was a character on Supernatural, other than Castiel, that you could try playing, who would it be?
Well, I got to play as Castiel. I got to play other characters. I got to play Lucifer. I got to play a crazy version of myself. I got to play a human. I got to play another human who had amnesia. I got to play an SS officer. It was one of the things about being on Supernatural that I loved, which there was like this variety of what we were doing. Sometimes in season 12 and 13, it felt like there was not a lot of variety. But we did have like the opportunities to actually try out different hats at different times. I think it would have been fun to play, Sam at some point. In fact, there were a couple of times where like the idea had, like a body switching episode had been thrown around, and it sounded like it might happen. And I even went so far as to do a little bit of like, I was studying Jared a little bit and trying to figure out what are his mannerisms. Because I did that with Mark Pellegrino when he was playing, when he played Lucifer first. So I went over to his apartment before we started filming, and I was like, help me cheat. I want to like be able to copy what you did. What's going on in your head? And I like carefully watched his mannerisms. But I did a little bit of the same kind of homework because I thought we might be doing a body swapping episode with Jared. And I probably still do it. It was like, hey Cass. Hey Bean. How are you guys doing today? It's kind of uncanny, isn't it? I showed Jared that, and he was like, he did a double take because it was like he was looking in a mirror. It's so stupid. Thank you. Please do not yell from the audience. I can yell at you, but you do not yell at me. You understand? It's too much. Is this a new thing that we have? Is this only for MinCon? This supposedly chill convention? Please do not yell from the audience, and stop throwing things at the guest on the stage. Ladies, put your shirts back on. Hi.
My name is Shara. I'm from Vancouver.
Hi, what are you doing here? You drove from Vancouver?
Well, I drove to DC as well.
Fuck off. Really?
Yeah.
Well, are you afraid of flying? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And you don't care about your carbon footprint? Actually, what's worse, flying or driving across country? It's hard to say these days.
I think it depends on the vehicle.
My dad was like, I don't know if I want to, my sister lives out in Portland now, and he's in Boston, so it's across the country, Portland, Oregon. And he's like, my sister had a baby, and my dad's wife is like, wants to go visit the baby all the time. He's like, we can't do this anymore. We can't just be flying back and forth across the country. I feel too guilty about the carbon footprint. And I was like, Dad, The carbon footprint of you flying to go visit your granddaughter is not the problem. Like the problem is a million other things that is going on in our society and how we're burning energy. That is not the thing that causes global warming. But then he showed me some stats on how much fuel I was taking, and I was like, oh shit. Because I flew like 350,000 miles last year. Like that I might be partly responsible for the LA fires. Okay, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Well, what I have to know is one parent to another, because let's face it, children are creepy. What is the creepiest thing your kids ever did where you're like, oh, I think I need an old priest and a young priest?
So my first line of defense when there's something creepy and your body language implied, like with some kind of like creepy sexual innuendo or something like that, is not to turn to a priest. They like paw at the, like kittens paw at the nipples of their mothers, like as they're trying to get milk. Do you know that? Like will like if you just what? Adding, eating. Well, it helps draw the milk out, right? My daughter couldn't take her fingers off my nipples. And it was like, it became this thing, like she really loved feeling the nipple go from being flaccid to and she would just like, so I would like, she'll fully cozied up and she'll have an arm flopped over me and like it's bedtime and reading a story or something and then her creepy little hand. And it got to the point where I would be like, it's the only time I hit my daughter. I would slap her because I was like, Mason, no, I told you 100 times, stop touching my nipples. And it was just like, she could not resist. And given the opportunity, she's now 12, she would for sure go for it. It's pretty creepy. I'm sure I can think of creepier things. What about your kids?
Well, that would be my middle child, who for about a year and a half earned herself the nickname Beelzebub. That started when she would chase after little old ladies, specifically in the shopping mall, starting at about a year and a half old, going. The origin of that sound was even creepier, because everybody knows that a lot of the modern baby monitors have video and have night vision, which makes the eyes light up in a wonderful way. So, middle of the night, about 13 months old, I hear come over the baby monitor. So I'm rolling over like, what the hell are they doing? And I look at the monitor, and all I see is this face smushed up against the camera with the echoing.
I didn't realize when you said creepy that you had a demon child. That is creepy. So you do need a priest. You need an exorcism.
That's the reference.
Yeah, got it. Okay. I'm sorry. Is she older now?
She's 9 now.
She's 9 and hosting seances.
I get that I have a feeling it's going there.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Good luck with that. Hello.
I'm Theo. I'm
Theo.
from here. Sorry. What's your favorite memory from filming Supernatural?
My favorite memory from filming Supernatural? That's a very broad question. Can you give me more specificity on your question? Like, what kind of memory? What do
Just
you...
a fun memory that you look back and you smile and you're like, wow, that was a really great time in my life, and I'm so glad that I did that and had that experience.
On Supernatural? I wept every morning before going to work. Please don't make me go, I would say. Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I really loved, I loved so many things about our antics on the set. I think my fondest memories are just about the sort of the fun, silly antics that we got up to. I loved, at one point I had made a mockumentary about what it was like behind the scenes on the set. And we had so much fun making fun of ourselves in the making of that mockumentary. It was quite enjoyable. I have fond memories that are also Jared and Jensen and I, when we were in the early years, when I was up in the early years on Supernatural, we were all still quite young in the scheme of things. And we would do things like have a few drinks and then get into wrestling matches. And one of my favorite moments on Supernatural was coming into the hair and makeup trailer. We had been in Jacksonville, Florida for a convention the previous weekend, and this was Monday. And we were in the hair and makeup trailer, and Jared, they were like, the makeup people, the whole makeup crew was standing in a circle around Jared, I don't know what we're gonna do. This is gonna be really hard to cover up. And he had bruises and scrapes all over one side of his face. And I was like, dude, what the fuck happened, man? And he said, Misha, you did this. That was a fond memory. Thank you.
My name is Bridget, and I'm from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm here with my daughter, Haley. I got picked, but she didn't. But if you could maybe say hi. She's over there.
Hi. Sorry, where are you? Raise your hand. I heard a voice over there. Oh, hi.
She's probably embarrassed. She's probably embarrassed that I'm doing this right now.
Yeah, well, I'm embarrassed for her. So you got picked and she did.
She didn't, and she was too nervous.
So well,
I
that's
offered to
obvious. You're up at the microphone and she's not, and she knows that she didn't get picked. You did, right?
Yes.
And you're just rubbing it in.
We have that type of relationship.
Cool.
So my question is, how did you feel about Castiel's wardrobe? Never changing. Did you ever want to don a flannel and some biker boots?
I take issue with what you're saying right now, because Castiel's wardrobe did change. And if you were a real aficionado, if you were a real student of Supernatural, then you would know that there were some pretty significant changes. I went into for my fitting. So when you get a job as an actor on a show, first thing that you have to do is go in for your fitting. And they try on different clothes for you, and then they take photos, and they send those photos back to the showrunner, and the showrunner is like, yeah, I like this, I like that, whatever. And in the script, where Castiel shows up, it describes Castiel as wearing a trench coat with a suit under it and a rumpled suit, a la Constantine. So it was kind of like there was a real template for the look, because there was this comic book character, Constantine, who had a similar look. So it was like, that's what we were going for. I went in for the fitting, put the suit on, the shirt on, tie on, did not fit at all.
it was like for somebody who was 6'4" and 350 pounds, like completely oversized. I was swimming in the whole thing. But then I put on this frumpy trench coat and it covered everything up. A year and a half later, because I thought I was just, I didn't like complain about it. I was just like, I'm just guest starring for a couple of episodes. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Nobody watches this stupid show anymore. And a year and a half later, I went back in. So Jared and Jensen, meanwhile, every single episode, they're going in for a fitting because they're changing their clothes. Every episode, there's always something new. They're always going in for fittings. I have no fittings for a year and a half. And finally, I go into the hair and makeup trailer and say, I'm sorry, I've been using those like giant like clips for like that you use for like a stack of papers. I've been using one of these clips to try to draw the fabric of my shirt back because it's like a balloon in the front and back. And I took the trench coat off and I showed them and they're like, what the fuck, Misha, why didn't you tell us? Why are you wearing this? So there was a change at that point when Taylor was selling my clothing. And then it was like, I don't know, maybe so they killed me. They tried to kill me, and then the president of the network was like, you're not really killing Castiel, are you? And they're like, no, don't bring that. And so I came back at the end of season 7, and I think it was around there that I had talked to the showrunner, and I was like, hey, I'm kind of like a little bit sick of this like super frumpy, not well-fitting trench coat. Is there any way we could like justify updating the look and do something different? And they were like, yeah, we'll see what we can do. And so they had me at the end of the season go in for a fitting and like try on new stuff for the next season. And then the script came, and I did. I got a new tie. The tie had like some stripes on it or something. The trench coat was a new trench coat. It was like kind of like a little smaller, a little sleeker, different fabric, slightly different color. And then we came back to film, and there was no justification. It was just Castiel had new clothes, but he decided to get the exact same clothes. Like, Castiel went shopping or something? It was the weirdest thing. And the showrunner said, like, nobody's gonna notice. And apparently that's true. Did anyone notice? Yes. 4 people noticed. It really bothered me. What can you do? Thank you. That was fun.
My name is Juliet, and I'm from here. So, before you mentioned that you liked playing other characters, who was the most fun to play and why?
I really did enjoy playing Lucifer, Cass. I don't know why, but it just felt like it clicked in. It was really fun. And I have a soft spot in my heart for Castiel, just good old-fashioned Castiel, because there was something about playing a character for 12 years where it actually started to just feel like that character was kind of a part of me somehow. Can't really explain it. I mean, short of saying it's probably something akin to having split personality disorder, but it felt like very comforting or something to play Castiel, and it felt incredibly known to me somehow. So my heart was with regular Cass, but I had the most fun with Lucifer Cass, which maybe speaks to my personality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Amy. I'm from Los Angeles.
Well, good. Why did you come here?
I'm here with a couple of people, one of whom it's their first con, and I'm from here kind of originally, so...
Okay, that seems like a pretty good
I'm
excuse.
doing double duty with some family
Yeah.
and this.
Helping somebody lose their virginity and...
Yeah. So you wear a lot of hats artistically, poet, actor, director. producer. And I'm curious what stories or types of stories are you attracted to as an artist or are inspiring you artistically right now?
I like being involved at the inception point, like creating something. And I've been involved in working with a group of people writing a screenplay right now that we've been working on together, there are 4 of us, for almost a year, and putting a lot of work into it, and that has been incredibly gratifying. But I also like to build furniture and make things with my hands, and I like to think about design and architecture, and I like writing, which is I like writing in a brainstorming kind of context, but I also like writing on my own, like writing a poem, and I think that my personality is such that I like performing. I'm doing this one-man show right now, which I've actually put a lot of work into and I've been working on for about a year and a half. And that's been a really fascinating and interesting and challenging and somewhat scary exploration for me. By the way, I think there are a few more tickets for tonight if anybody wants to come. I think you might regret not going, and you'll definitely regret it if you do go. And I think my personality is such that I love doing different things. Like when it starts to feel routine and like, oh, I've done this, I'm used to this, I know how this goes, it starts to feel like drudgery to me, no matter how exciting and interesting and creative it originally started out to be. I did this scavenger hunt Gish. And when I started, thank you for that round of applause. And when I started it, it was such a creative project for me, and it was so exciting. But then after a decade, I started to feel like it was like we're doing the same thing, and I felt like I was kind of just running a small business, and not like I was really creatively involved. So I like to do different things. Supernatural was another good example of that. One of the things that helped me stay on Supernatural for as long as I did was that we did get to play a variety of things, and it wasn't always the same thing. But I will say, by season 15, it was starting to feel like, I feel like we've done this before. And as much as I loved that show, and as much as I loved the cast and crew, and so many things about that job, I think we were all also ready to go creatively, try something different, go do something new. And even now, from the vantage point of 5 years on, I feel like we could all go back and revisit Supernatural. We could do a Supernatural movie, and it would be awesome. We'd have so much fun with it. Because I know if we did something like that, it would be a very new take on it, right? But it's nice to not be punching the clock, and it's nice, that's been one of the great blessings of the career path that I've had, is that I've gotten to do different things, and I love it. And that's not true of everybody. There are a lot of people who really love consistency and ritual and routine, and I'm just not one of those people. I see. I grew like 30 feet. It's because of all my character work as Jerry.
Hi, you sexy man.
I gotta cherish this moment just stare at your face.
You don't need a microphone to do that, Well, you're doing a great job of making me uncomfortable.
Okay, so I'm Kelly. I'm from Omaha.
Hi, Kelly from Omaha.
Hi. Said my name. So my question is, what talent do you not have, but you wish you did?
Honestly, I can't think of one. What talent do I not have that I wish I did? Okay, I wish I was really good at painting.
and I'm not. And I don't know, what else? I'm not really very good at cooking Chinese food. There are a lot of things that I wish I was good at. I'm not great at throwing pots. Like, I can maybe like get 1 out of 6 tries to work if I'm making pottery. And I can't fly an airplane legally. There are great many things that I wish I had the skills or the patience to learn the skills for. If we could just download things like in the Matrix, I would be all in. But a lot of things, I don't know if you know this, but there are a lot of things that you have to practice in order to learn. And I'm not interested in that. Like languages. Wouldn't it be great to be able to fluently speak lots of languages? But that's for a different type of person. My son is one of those people. He's like really good at focusing on one thing and just sticking with it. He's been doing Duolingo. Do you guys know Duolingo? And his streak is like years. He never misses a day. And he speaks some of like 4 languages. And I barely speak English.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, I'm Mary. I'm French and just turned 44 yesterday.
Congratulations, happy birthday.
First convention, first time in USA. I won't teach.
This is your first time in the US?
Yes.
You picked an interesting time to travel from the US.
It's just for you.
Thank you. Did you tweet like any anti-Trump stuff before you got on the plane? I would be kind of tempted to just to see what happens.
I work with children on the spectrum. My question is, do you think Castiel's character is a beautiful metaphor of autism, or do I really work too much?
What was the last part of your question? Is Castiel maybe on the spectrum?
Or do I really work too much?
Or do you work too much? Well, it's interesting. I often will meet people at these conventions or elsewhere who come up to me and they say, I'm on the spectrum, or I have autism, and I have to say I really identify with the character of Castiel. And while I was developing the character of Castiel in concert with the writers and my fellow actors, it didn't occur to me that Castiel might be on the spectrum. But what I was trying to convey was that he didn't belong, that he didn't quite understand how humans operated, how they functioned with one another. He was looking at them, at humans, as if they were kind of an alien race, and he was trying to decipher their behaviors, their mores, and trying to figure out how to fit in. And I think in some ways that is probably, I'm speculating because I don't really know, but I think that that's probably in some ways an encapsulation of an aspect of the experience of being on the spectrum. It's like people, like certain things that seem easy or normal to people who are not neurodivergent are confusing and challenging and difficult to decipher to people who are on the spectrum. And so I've seen little clips of Castiel and I'm like, oh yeah, I totally see that. It wasn't my intention as I was creating the character, but it totally makes sense. And I have totally embraced that in hindsight. And I have like my own, sort of cockamamie theories about human psychology. But one of them is that we're like ants, and we all have our own jobs in our bigger colony,
And the reason that we have all of these differences between us, the reason that some people like have to do new things all the time, and some people like routine, and some people are on the spectrum, and some people are straight, and some people are gay, is that we all actually collectively plug into our network of human family in a way that brings everybody up. And the people who are on the spectrum actually are bringing something that the rest of us don't have to the collective table. They're adding something. And people who have ADHD are actually like really good at being creatives. We just shouldn't be trying to shoehorn people. There was an incredible article in the New York Times recently about ADHD. Look it up if you haven't seen it. But it's about how like a lot of the problem with modern psychology is that we're trying to make everybody be the same instead of finding combinations to allow each person to flourish their best. And I think that's true, and I think that there are people on the spectrum who are able to see things differently and add so much to the fabric of society, and I feel like the same is true of Castiel. Him being different actually was what made him so valuable and important, not only to Sam and Dean and to that, that found family, but also, to helping save the world. Thank you. Hello.
Hi, my name's Marie. I live in Washington State.
Where in Washington?
What?
Where?
In Eastern Washington.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. It's a secret location. I understand.
Sorry.
You're
So
part,
my question was.
you're part of an experiment that the federal government is running. I get it.
I mean, I could say a more specific location, but it's not a really
It's not
big
worth it. Okay. That's
place. So anyway, my question was, so as mentioned previously, there was a lot of like antics on the set of Supernatural, but there were a lot of like also heartbreaking scenes in the show. So my question is, what's the most serious scene that had the least serious stakes?
The most serious scene that had the least serious takes. Oh, that is a very difficult question. I don't know. I don't know. There were a lot of, typically I think it was the serious seeming scenes that had, we tended to respect one another, like when somebody was like going through a real emotional trauma and like tears were streaming down their face, we wouldn't make jokes at that point. We would be kind of shockingly respectful. But if it was a serious, like we're about to crack the case moment on the show, we would fuck with each other mercilessly. There was a scene, I've told this story before, so I'm sorry if you've heard it, but you shouldn't have come back to the convention. Let's start punishing the repeat customers. So it was a scene, we were in the morgue, it was in the episode called My Bloody Valentine. I can't believe I remembered that. So it was in the episode My Bloody Valentine, and we're in a morgue, and there's like these hearts on the table, and Sam and Dean are standing on the other side of the table, and I'm approaching the table to talk to them over the gurney there, and I walk up to the table with whatever my line of dialogue was, like, we have to find whoever's cutting these hearts out. And I walk up to the table, and Sam and Dean are opposite me, and Sam has a line, and the camera was on me. It was going right between the two of them. And you could just see like a little bit of Jared's shoulder and a little bit of Jensen's shoulder, and it was on my face. And I walk up to the table, and I delivered my line to Sam. And he said, we have to find whoever's cutting these hearts out. And then I felt that sort of unmistakable feeling of a broom handle in my balls.
And I did what I always do when someone starts tickling my balls. I started giggling. And the director said, cut, Misha, come on, we gotta go again. Please pull it together. And I was like, but that. And the director's in the other room looking on the monitor, just seeing what the cameras see. And all the cameras see is Misha going, ee. We have to put these hearts on. Clearly not taking his work seriously. So it was Friday night, and and the crew was tired of a long week of filming. Everybody wanted to go home. The first AD came over and took the broom away from Jared. So we did another take, and I walked up to the table and I said, we have to find whoever's cutting out these hearts. And then Jared is very flexible, and he does this thing. And it was right in there again. And I'm trying to say the line to Sam as Jared got his foot in my crotch, and I just can't do it, and I laugh again. And the director is exasperated. Misha, come on! We're almost at 14 hours. We have to get this shot. I'm like, sorry, but Jared, Misha, we'll go again. And Jensen, thankfully, says, Misha, just turn and say the line to me. Don't say the line to him. I was like, thank you. And I walked up to the table and I said, we have to find whoever's cutting out these hearts. And Jensen went. And I just laughed. I couldn't do it. The director thought I was a rank amateur. Really frustrating. Thank you.
Hi. My name's Keitra. I'm also from Los Angeles.
My God!
I know. We're out
Who
here.
knew that Minneapolis was such a destination? It's like everybody is. It's great.
Hi. So I was wondering, so you've done a lot of conventions, a lot of panels, and I'm wondering if you've ever answered a question at a convention and later thought about it and wished that you'd answered it differently. If so, what was it? And what would your answer be now?
I was at a convention in New Jersey, and I don't remember why I did this exactly. But I asked the audience by a show of hands. I think I was trying to make a joke. Sometimes when I'm on stage, I try to make jokes. And I asked the audience by a show of hands who was straight. What was it? Does anyone remember? Introverts, that's right. Who's an introvert? And I was like explaining that I'm an introvert. Thank you for remembering my own experience. Who's an introvert? And like half the people raise their hands. And then who's an extrovert? And half the people raise their hands. And then who's bisexual? And I don't know why I thought this would be like it was just a stream of consciousness. It came out of my mouth. And about 3/4 of the audience raised their hand. And then someone yelled from the audience, and they didn't have that at the time, that little thing saying, don't yell. Someone yelled, what are you? And I kind of went, I'm all three. And I just I just wanted to I don't know why I said what I said, but I said that. And then somebody in the audience tweeted, Misha just came out as bisexual. And then this online rag, Just Jared, picked it up, saw the tweet, retweeted it, was like, I knew it! And then the gay periodical, The Advocate, they ran an article announcing that I had come out as bisexual. And once it was in The Advocate, then Newsweek picked it up. And Newsweek was like, actor Misha Collins comes out as bisexual. Kind of no surprise there. And then it was like in the Toronto Sun. It was like in major, legitimate news outlets after that. And I am many things. I happen to not be bisexual. I happen to be heterosexual. I know it sucks. And So nobody would wish that, like you're cutting off half of your options. But I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, how do I deal with this? Like, I wasn't trying to make fun of bisexuals. I mean, I was being stupid. I was like, it wasn't, and had it been a great joke, it would have been one thing, but it wasn't a great joke. So now I'm like, I don't know what to do. And at the time I was on the show Gotham Knights. And the publicist for Warner Brothers called me and they were like, Misha, it's a little bit of a shitstorm right now. So we had a meeting. And like, this was like in a very sensitive moment in the culture. It was like, George Floyd protests that just happened in the Me Too movement, and like everybody got to just trying to be careful about what they say, and it's not like now. And I was like, she was like, I was like, I guess I have to make some statements saying I'm not. I have to make some statements saying I'm not bisexual, I guess. And she was like, so we did have a meeting. Dear Warner Brothers, and we're wondering if there's a world in which you could just go with it. Anyway, then there were follow-up articles. So I think that one of the things that I read was like, I think Misha Collins is the first person to ever publicly come out as straight. But yeah, that was something that I regretted saying almost immediately.
We forgive you. The bisexual community forgives you. We love you.
Hi, my name's Kyla. I'm born and raised from Minnesota. I didn't come anywhere.
Well, thank you for welcoming so many of us invaders here into your homeland.
Gladly. So my question is of all the cities you've been to with the cons, is there a place or a tourist trap you have visited on your downtime that you loved?
Yes, I went to a totally touristy destination at a convention. One of the first years I was at the Rome convention, I went to Pompeii. It's the most amazing thing you've ever seen. It's this Roman city that was buried by the volcanic ash of Mount Vesuvius, and it was like everybody was killed instantly and buried under this ash, and the entire city was perfectly preserved for 2,000 years, and then it was excavated in these very careful archaeological digs, and it reveals that like we haven't changed at all. Like they had in mosaic in front of the nice houses like doormats that in mosaic in Latin say "Beware of dog." They had running water. They had running hot water. They had like really beautiful advertisements in the town square, like these big, basically billboards advertising various different things. There was a brothel, and on the outside of the brothel it said, "We do fellatio." Like, nothing has changed. It was actually quite amazing because it did, like, literally seeing the advertisements, seeing the infrastructure and all of that, it really did make me, it made me have epiphanies about how civilization, we're actually very much the same people that we were a few thousand years ago. We have better, more complicated technology, but we're basically the same, and I thought that was quite profound and super cool, and I can't wait to go back. And the Pompeii Tourism Board does not pay me a penny to say this. All authentic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
Hi, Misha. Hi.
Oh, you're gracing us with your presence, are you?
I figured I should, honor half of my contract.
This is Richard Spade.
Hi.
Rob and I were just commenting. We're very impressed that you're here because we know how much you hate this city.
Right. Go on. Well, I did. I don't know if you heard how we discussed the opening, but I said Minneapolis. You say welcome to LA, home of the Dodgers, or whatever. And I said I came down the escalator and said welcome to Minneapolis, home of the guy who mugged Misha. You guys already heard this joke. You can't be acting horrible a second time. You
Just horrible. Just horrible. Shame on you.
Well, I mean, that of course, like they're celebrating that guy, not you who were injured.
I don't work for the Minneapolis Chamber of Commerce.
It wasn't you.
I have nothing to do with it. I am just reporting the news. How's it going for you, buddy? How you doing?
Pretty well. How about you?
Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah.
I like that sweater.
Thanks. I wore it at the last convention.
I know. I recognize that.
Getting a lot of flack for having not changed my wardrobe.
No, man, I think you're ballsy. I say you're like, stink be damned, you know?
Well, I also haven't like dry cleaned it or anything.
No, I know. I'm very close to you. Yep, there it is. Morning, everybody. Well, burn this coat.
I'm just surprised you've worn it every day since then. That's what I'm surprised.
At something, it was a bold move. Just like staying in it 24/7. You're really making a statement.
Yeah.
We calling that royal blue? Is that royal blue? Yeah, I like it. It's royal blue. It's a specific kind of blue. Royal blue. It's got a pop to it.
Okay, sire.
This one with royal blue.
Finally getting the reaction that I wanted.
Exactly.
Not all of us have a moat around our castle.
When Misha's depressed, we're like, royal blue.
Speaking of blue, no segue at all, ladies and gentlemen, Misha Castiel!